So what do you mean by balanced diet? Right proportion of carbohydrates, proteins, lipids should be in our normal food. The complex organic food molecules need to be broken down into simpler absorbable micromolecules is called digestion. So what is immunity? It is the ability of the body to fight against the disease causing organism. Alpha cells produces a hormone called glucagon and beta cells produces a hormone called insulin. Hello everyone, welcome back to the first very important session of chapter called Digestion and Absorption. Myself, B. Shobharani from the Department of Biology, Vidyashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence. We all know how important food is. So the basic requirement for human beings is food. I think all of us agree for this. And I think if you see this beautiful picture, then definitely our mouth will start watering with so many varieties of dishes. So, what I mean to say is, food is the basic requirement for the human beings. So, there are different forms of food, may it be in the form of carbohydrate, protein, lipids, etc. And why food is so very important for our body? As you know, it is a source of energy. And there is a wear and tear process taking place inside our body. And for the growth of new cells, also, food is very, very important. But what type of food we are eating is very, very important. So there are different varieties of food. Like, can we depend only on certain types of food? No, it is not like that. So I think you might have come across a word called balanced diet. So what do you mean by balanced diet? Right proportion of carbohydrates, proteins, lipids should be in our normal food, what we take in everyday life, so that we can maintain all the nutrients that is required for the body for growth and for various physiological purposes is very, very important. So if we depend upon the junk food, definitely which is having no source of nutrients, definitely our health will be disturbed. And I think all of us know at this point of time where we all are facing the coronavirus pandemic, you know, uh, gaining immunity to our body in our body is very, very important. So what is immunity? It is the ability of the body to fight against the disease causing organism. Only when your body is strong enough to fight the microorganisms, then definitely we can overcome any diseases, may it be even the coronavirus. So what is the best part of gaining immunity? It is also through food. And food, as you know, they are in the form of biomacromolecules or they might be in the form of biomicromolecules. So when we take the food in the form of biomacromolecules, we call them as complex organic food materials. And these complex organic food materials need to be broken down into simpler absorbable forms so that our body can absorb and carry on the process of physiological activities in the body. So, food is a very, very important requirement of human beings. So, food is one of the basic requirements of all living organisms. So, the major components of a food are carbohydrates, proteins, and fats or lipids. So, the minor components are vitamins and minerals. So, why do we call them as macromolecules? Just because they are bigger in size? No, they are required in larger proportion to our body. Whereas the vitamins and minerals are called, you can also call them as micronutrients. You can call them as carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids as macronutrients, which are required in larger quantity for our body. Whereas the micronutrients are required in not large proportion but in minor quantities to carry on the various functions in our body. I think all of us know human body has is mainly involved in carrying on various physiological processes, may it be digestion, absorption, excretion, right? Then respiration, blood circulation. So all these physiological processes need energy. And from where do we get energy to carry on all these internal processes? And it is through food. So it may be the and I think all of us know what will happen to our body if these requirements, that is the macronutrients and the micronutrients, are not obtained to the body in the right proportion, definitely it is going to cause diseases. For example, like vitamins, I think all of us know vitamins, if the deficiency of vitamins causes what? Vitamin deficiency diseases. So in a similar way, and even our immune system will be very weak if we don't take good nutritious food in our daily diet. So what we eat matters a lot, not what the quantity of food is not the criteria here. The quality of food what we eat matters a lot. Then food provides, as you know, the very important source of energy to do work is food. And I think all of us know we need energy. Energy for what? For doing work, and energy for the internal processes to go on meticulously. For all the things we need energy. Imagine if we don't have food for a day, and we can see the difference in our body. So we will become very weak. The body will become very weak and will not be able to carry on our daily functions meticulous. So food is the prime requirement of all living organisms, as it is a source of energy to the body. And here we can classify the foods into two types. As I said, one is called the macronutrients, or you can also use the word called macromolecules, or they can also be called as macromolecules. Second one, micronutrients, or they can also be called as micromolecules. So what are the macronutrients? It is like carbohydrates, proteins, lipids and fats. What are micromolecules? It might be vitamins and minerals. Then here you can see the variety of food. So like for example, rice and wheat will have lot of carbohydrates, like fish, oil, then even milk. That will have more of protein. So there are different forms of food which will have different sources of macronutrients. So the very important form of obtaining this macronutrients and micronutrients is what? Food. Then food, organic materials. So food is nothing but what? Carbohydrates are organic compounds containing carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. So organic materials help for growth and repair of tissues. See, I think all of us know that always there is a wear and tear process taking place inside our body. So to replace the worn out cells, so new cells have to be formed, and the only means of formation of new cells is through food that we eat. So food, which we call it as an organic material, helps for growth and repair of tissues. And second one, water helps in metabolic processes and also prevents dehydration. So whenever we have food, I think we make it mandatory to have a cup of water. So water also plays a very great role in the process of digestion of food. So here the very important concept of this chapter is digestion. So we may have macronutrients or micronutrients, but those macronutrients have to be broken down into simpler absorbable forms through a very important process called digestion. And only if digestion takes place is it sufficient? No. The broken down molecules have to be absorbed by the body cells, and that is called as assimilation. Absorption and assimilation has to take place. That is absorption and assimilation. Assimilation is called digestion. So here biomacromolecules in food cannot be utilized by our body in their original form. So when we have carbohydrates, proteins, lipids in their macronutrient form, so our body will not absorb the nutrients from that particular source of food. So it has to be broken down into simpler absorbable forms. For example, carbohydrates have to be broken down into monosaccharides, proteins into amino acids, fats into fatty acid and glycerol. So these are the simpler forms which has to be released from the complex food forms, and so that the body cells can absorb. So these macromolecules have to be broken down and converted into its simpler form in the digestive system. And imagine how important our digestive system is. And we all know that how advantageous it is to be a multicellular organism, particularly like in plants and animals. Imagine in human beings, we have different organs to perform different functions. For example, heart does the process of circulation of blood, kidney does the process of excretion. Very important is the digestive system, or we also call it as alimentary canal, but does a very important internal process called the digesting of the macromolecule, conversion of the macromolecules into simpler absorbable micromolecules, and that very important process is digestion and absorption. As I said, what is digestion? The complex organic food molecules need to be broken down into simpler absorbable micromolecules is called digestion. So here you can see the varieties of food. It may be chapati, it might be puri, and it might be the vegetables. So I think nowadays, like we are, particularly India, being a cultural and traditional country, I think we know how important, the importance of food we know. And you know how we prepare different varieties of food. And that is the reason why many of people from the other countries like our country, because we are really foodies and we make varieties of foods. And particularly I think nowadays we know that because of this coronavirus pandemic, nobody is going out or maybe for the hotel, so almost everything we prepare at home, and we enjoy and we relish the food what we prepare at home, and it is hygienic also. So the food what we eat should be prepared in a very hygienic condition, which is very, very important. We need to wash our hands, then wash the vegetables, wash the fruits before we eat. So even the utensils what we use for making of the food also should be clean. So all this matters a lot, so that we'll not get infected with certain diseases. Particularly there are certain diseases which are contaminated through food and water. So it is very, very important that food doesn't mean just eating. How we eat and how the way we prepare the food and eat matters a lot. So what is digestion then? Digestion is the process of breakdown of complex organic matter into simpler absorbable molecules is called digestion. So digestion plays a very, very vital role in our body, as the very important source of energy for our body is food. So it doesn't mean that the other processes are not important, but digestion plays a very pivotal role in carrying on the very important physiological process of digestion. So the digestive system, as I said, what is the advantage in multicellular organism? We human beings, being a multicellular organism, is we have different organs to perform different functions meticulously, and see how efficiently these organs are functioning round the clock, 24/7 they will be working. So we keep on eating and the process of digestion will keep on taking place. But as you know that even we should limit ourselves when we eat. It is not like it's a continuous process of eating. So we need to give as a pause or a gap for intake of food. Otherwise, the process of digestion will not take properly. So let us understand what is digestion and what are the very important organs that are involved in the process of digestion, that is the digestive system. What are the parts that are involved in the process of digestion? So as I said here, the complex, that is the carbohydrates, need to be broken down into monosaccharides. They are simple sugars. They are also called as what? Simple sugars. Then proteins into amino acids. Then lipids into fatty acids plus glycerol. So these are the absorbed. So these are the complex organic foods. These are all the complex organic food material, that is carbohydrate, proteins, lipids, they are all in the complex form. So they need to be converted into simpler forms like carbohydrates into monosaccharides, which are called simple sugars. Proteins have to be converted into amino acids, then lipids into fatty acids and glycerol. Now, let us move on to what is digestion. And here you can see the beautiful picture of the digestive system. The digestive system. So, it can also be called as what? The alimentary canal. Right. Now, what is digestion? How do we define the word called digestion? The process of conversion of complex food substances into simple absorbable form is called digestion. See how nicely the word digestion is defined here. So how do we define the word called digestion? The process of conversion of complex food substances. Like for example, you have taken food in the form of carbohydrate. So it is a complex. For example, you have taken the food in the form of protein, or you have taken the food in the form of lipid, fats. So these are all complex which cannot be absorbed by the body as it is when they are taken in original form. So they need to be converted or broken down into simpler, so absorbable form is called digestion. And what is that very important event called digestion taking place? It is taking place in a very important system called digestive system. How important is this digestive system to our body? I think we ourselves human beings know. And imagine if there is something goes wrong with the digestive system, I think definitely we can feel the difference in our body functioning. So that means to say that, so we need to keep our digestive system properly, like the food what we eat, the water what we drink should be clean, and what food we eat also is very important for the maintenance of the digestive system. And the human digestive system consists of, we call it as alimentary canal, as I said, alimentary canal and the associated glands. What do you mean by associated glands? Is it alone? All as for example, all of us know how important mouth is. So ingestion of food. What do you mean by ingestion of food? Intake of food is through mouth. And all of us know mouth has what? Teeth. And what is the function of teeth? The food what we eat is broken down, like it is cut into smaller pieces, and that cutting process, or what we call it as mastication, takes place with the help of teeth. And I think all of us know mouth produces saliva, which is having a very important enzyme called salivary amylase or ptyalin, where 3/4 of the carbohydrate is digested in the mouth itself. Then comes the esophagus. So here you can see, so the mouth, then the tongue, then the salivary glands. So we have a three pairs of salivary glands, that is the parotid glands, submaxillary glands, and submandibular glands. So what is the function of salivary glands? They produce what? Saliva. And we all of us know there is a tract which carries food, which is called pharynx. So windpipe and food pipe. Like we have trachea, larynx, we call it as windpipe, and pharynx, we call it as food pipe. Then we have teeth. So as you know, teeth also plays a very great role in mastication of food. So you may wonder, why should we chew the food properly? I think you might have come across small children. They're always asked to chew the food properly, because chewing and making the food into soft substance makes the process of digestion more easier. And very important is, I think all of us know, why do we cook food? To make the food very soft. As such, we can eat. And for example, like vegetables, we boil the vegetables and eat. Why do we boil? Like for example, rice. We cannot eat raw rice. We just boil the rice and then eat. Why? Because when the food is soft, then it is easy for digestion. You cannot the process of digestion will be very difficult if we eat the food in a raw condition. So the process of digestion will be easy and faster when compared to the food what we eat in the raw form. So that is the purpose of cooking the food and eating. But it should not be cooked beyond limit, so that all the nutrients or all the very important contents of the food are destroyed by overcooking. So that care has to be taken. So here we can see the esophagus. So esophagus is from through which the food goes. Then it goes to this is called esophagus, which is a long tubular structure. In here we are going to study. And here this is a very, very important structure called stomach. It is divided into three parts: cardiac stomach, fundus, and pyloric stomach. So stomach plays as a storage organ. So whatever food we eat, I think it goes to the stomach, and stomach also does a wonderful job of digestion. So as I said, salivary amylase that is found in the saliva almost digests 3/4 of the carbohydrate and sends the full of protein, the full of lipid, and 1/4 of carbohydrate to the stomach. And in the stomach, protein is digested to some extent, and the final process of digestion takes place in a very, very important part of the digestive system called small intestine. So imagine how important this small intestine is. I think you might have come across here. So this is the curved portion. The first very important part of the small intestine is called duodenum. Duodenum, jejunum, ileum. So the whole of the small intestine is divided into three parts: duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. The final part of digestion takes place in the small intestine. And later, the other very important part of the digestive system is large intestine. This large intestine does the process of absorption and also throwing out all the unwanted matter, undigested matter in the form of fecal matter is done through the large intestine, and from the anus it is thrown out. Then I think all of us know the associated glands. You might have, all of us know how important liver is. Liver is a major, very important organ, storage organ. As we know, the food what we take, glucose, is converted into glycogen and it is stored in the liver. And whenever our body requires energy, then glycogen is converted into glucose. As you know, glucose is the main source of energy for our body. And you can see the gallbladder here. And also very important organ is the pancreas. Who has not heard about pancreas? Pancreas is a heterocrine organ, or what we call it as, it acts as both an endocrine gland and an exocrine gland. So what is that exocrine part of pancreas? So very important because it produces pancreatic juice or pancreatic enzymes, which does a wonderful job of digesting the proteins, right? And I think all of us know enzymes play a great role in the process of digestion, and we know enzymes work in a lock and key system. There are particular type of enzymes which act on particular substrate, just like how we use a particular key to open a particular lock. So there are specific enzymes which act on the specific substrate, food substrate, like carboxylases act on carbohydrates, proteases act on proteins, lipases act on lipids, right? Now, this exocrine part of, I think we all know the endocrine part of pancreas. The endocrine part of pancreas called islets of Langerhans, which is going to produce two type of cells, alpha and beta cells. Alpha cells produces a hormone called glucagon, and beta cells produces a hormone called insulin. And we all know how the glucose level in the blood is regulated. So homeostasis is a very, very important process that is happening. Maintenance of internal environment. For example, if your glucose level is raised up, so immediately insulin comes into the picture and converts glucose back into glycogen, which is stored in the liver. And if your glucose level drops, is beyond the average that is been required, then immediately the glycogen is converted into glucose by glucagon. See how it is going to maintain the internal environment. The pancreatic juice produced by the pancreas, and I think all of us know liver produces bile juice. The bile juice and the pancreatic juice come and pour into the gallbladder, and through a duct called gall duct reaches the first part of small intestine called duodenum. As I said, the final stage of digestion takes place in small intestine, which is a highly coiled structure and plays a very great role in the process of final digestion of carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. So here you can see the common bile duct. It is given there. Then here you can see the transverse colon, small intestine, descending colon, sigmoid colon, then the rectum and anus. Here you can see a very small vermiform appendix. As you know, it is also called cecum. Here duodenum, gallbladder, liver, all these are the very important parts of the digestive system. And as I said, the digestive system, the human digestive system consists of the alimentary canal and the associated glands. The associated glands here are liver and pancreas. Liver produces bile juice, which has a great role in the process of digestion of fat. I think all of us know fatty food is not so very easy for digestion. So the fats or the lipids have to be converted into what we call it as smaller fat droplets, and that process is called emulsification. Only when the complex fats are converted into fatty droplets, then it is called emulsification. Then the process of digestion of fat will be easy. And pancreas, as it produces the pancreatic juice, has a great role in the process of digestion of the proteins. And even the intestine also produces juice called intestinal juice, right? The secretions of the intestine is called succus entericus, which produces the intestinal juice, which has a great role to play in the process of digestion of the fat, the protein, as well as the carbohydrates. Moving on to the alimentary canal. So as I said, here you can see the picture, salivary glands. You can see the esophagus, stomach. Stomach is divided into, the middle part is called cardiac. This is called fundus. And this is called the pyloric stomach. So stomach is divided into three portions. Stomach is divided into three portions. One is called fundus. Then second one is called cardiac. Third one is called pyloric stomach. And here you can see the pancreas, then the gallbladder, then the liver, then the large intestine. Large intestine is also called as colon. Then the small intestine. Here you can see the appendix, vermiform appendix. You know, appendix is called as a vestigial organ. It has no role to play in the process of digestion, but all of us know that if it grows beyond limit, then it has to be removed from the body, where it is going to pose a threat to the large intestine. Then we have rectum, which stores all the undigested food in the form of fecal matter or excreta, and it is thrown out through anus. So the alimentary canal begins with an anterior portion called mouth, as we know. Then it opens out posteriorly through the anus. So it opens out posteriorly through the anus. So anterior if mouth is present, posteriorly anus is present. The mouth leads to the buccal cavity or oral cavity. So we use the word called buccal cavity or oral cavity. And all of us know we are all called jawed animals. We have the teeth located in a bony socket, and hence we are all called as jawed animals, gnathostomates. Then, and we know how important teeth has a role to play in the process of digestion, because we can't just swallow the food. We need to masticate the food, chew the food, and then swallow it, right? All that very important process is done by teeth, and the arrangement of teeth is called dentation. And I think all of us know we have two sets of teeth in our lifetime. One is called the milk teeth, and the other one is called the permanent teeth. So the milk teeth is replaced by permanent teeth, and once if permanent teeth fall, it cannot be formed again, right? And we have different types of teeth for different mode of action. Like for example, incisors, canines, premolars, and premolars. And the very difference between the milk teeth and the permanent teeth is presence of premolars. So premolars are absent in case of milk teeth, whereas the premolars are found in the permanent teeth. Then the mouth leads to the buccal cavity or oral cavity. And I think even the teeth, like in different animals, like for example canines, then carnivorous animals, incisors, canines are more prominent for tearing the flesh and eating. So we have different types of teeth, and it is called heterodont dentition. And we have two sets of teeth in our lifetime, that is the milk teeth replaced by the permanent teeth. Hence we use the word called diffeodont dentition. So arrangement of teeth is called dentition. So the oral cavity has a number of teeth and a muscular tongue. We have tongue. So arrangement of teeth in the oral cavity is called dentition. So arrangement of teeth in the oral cavity is called dentition. So the alimentary canal begins with an anterior portion called mouth, and It opens out posteriorly through the anus, and the mouth leads to the buccal cavity or the oral cavity, and the oral cavity has a number of teeth and muscle. Tongue is very, very important. See how important tongue is. Teeth also is important, tongue also is important. So whatever food we masticate, we chew, and it is converted into a semi-solid food called bolus, and it is mixed with the help of tongue. See, tongue serves two purposes. One, for mixing of the food and rolling it off into the esophagus, and at the same time speech. So we are all talking because of our tongue. So speech also is made possible by tongue, and also swallowing of the food is also made possible by the tongue, muscular tongue. Then teeth, of course, as I said, plays a very great role in chewing, in mastication of food, making it into small pieces so that it can be easily swallowed inside, and it will be taken inside the stomach through esophagus. So teeth, arrangement of teeth in the oral cavity is called dentition. See, our teeth is called as what? Each tooth is embedded in a socket of jawbone, and this condition is called thecodont dentition. So here we can use the word like dentition, then diffeodont dentition, heterodont dentition, then thecodont dentition. So what do you mean by dentition? Arrangement of teeth is called dentition. What do you mean by diffeodont dentition? There are two sets of teeth in the lifetime of an individual, that is the milk teeth and the milk teeth replaced by permanent teeth. And heterodont dentition, we have different types of teeth for different purposes. Like we have incisors, canines, premolars, molars. So we have different types of teeth, hence it is called heterodont. What do you mean by thecodont dentition? Our teeth is located in a bony socket, hence it is called thecodont dentition. In human beings, there are two sets of teeth, as I said, formed in their lifetime. Temporary or milk or it is also called as deciduous teeth in the childhood, and temporary milk dentition. Dentition replaces by permanent or adult teeth in adults. Hope you have understood the first very important introductory session of this interesting and very important chapter called digestion and absorption. So I'll be back with some more interesting concepts of this chapter in the coming session. Till then, goodbye and thank you.